Welcome to your sperm whale pre-trip orientation. I'm so glad you guys are able to make it, and thank you so much for taking your time out of this Thursday evening. As I was just saying, kind of this is going to be pretty much just a little bit of some like touching on reminders about your trip, with some visuals, and then kind of going over a little bit of the day-to-day, and your experience with the whales. And then if you guys have any questions at the end, Scott and I are happy to answer whatever questions you guys have. So we will get started. And I usually like to start off with a quote. And this quote, I think, kind of goes for so many different things, not just this trip in specific, but most are water trips. But I just think it's really, really awesome. So, vast movements of ocean and air currents bring dramatic change throughout the year. And in a few special places, those seasonal changes create some of the greatest wildlife spectacles on Earth. Sir David Attenborough, which I believe he does the like is it BBC or Disney like nature stuff? So I'm pretty
EBT.
sure that's probably where this came from. But I think it's really great because the ocean really does just is home to so many incredible wildlife, and it's just something you don't really see unless you go below and you snorkel or you scuba dive, and then you get to see that just incredible nature down there. So, which is what
Mhm.
this trip is about. Seeing the sperm whales. So this is a few little pictures I thought I'd throw up there too to show you guys from the last Dominica sperm whale trip we did, which I think it was like 2016, 2017. Yeah, they're such fascinating creatures. I'm really excited for you guys.
Mhm.
So meet some of the team. I'm Elizabeth. I'm your wildlife safari coordinator. I'm the one who's been emailing with you guys, getting your trip all set up and put together. Scott Davis is here. He's your trip leader. He's also the co-owner and co-CEO of Cheesemans. So we're really happy to have him here so he can share his experience, give you guys even more detailed information, help answer all those questions for you guys. So thank you, Scott, for being here.
My pleasure.
This is just a brief agenda. So these are the things we're gonna kind of go over. And then if you guys have any questions, we'll have like a little Q&A at the end. Um, but yeah, this is just again just a little bit of reminders and topics. And I threw a little, I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's a little yellow dot on the island. That's about where you guys are staying. So I just kind of thought I would highlight that. That's kind of the location of Dominica. You're gonna be in the northwest area. Now that you can see it, there's a little green dot up there in the northwest area where you guys will be in Portsmouth. I don't know if it's Portsmouth or Portsmouth, one of those two, but probably Portsmouth. So let's keep going. So I keep this on all my pre-trip Zooms. We don't expect any travel delays, travel challenges, but they can happen. And this is just a kind of a reminder to pack your patience, know that things can happen. And if anything does happen, flight delay, flight change, please just let us know, so that we can also let the hotel know, let your transfer drivers know, so that we can rearrange things as needed, and help you in any way possible. You guys are leaving right around the holiday there after Christmas. We will have someone on the Cheesemans info line, so they will be on. If you can't get a hold of me through my email, they'll also be checking that constantly. You can also send a message to our WhatsApp that if anything changes, or Scott's WhatsApp. So you can reach us any of those ways. You can also just call us if you're in the US and you have the ability to call to the US. So so transfers, whoa, sorry. Transfers on arrival. We will arrange your transfers for you, so that will be all set up. When you guys exit, after customs and things like that, there should be, when you get to the area where everyone's waiting for pickups, you should find someone that will have a sign with your name on it. So look for that, and they'll be transferring you to the hotel. Just a side note, the drive from Marigot, where the airport is, to Portsmouth, where your hotel is about an hour drive. So just keep that in mind. It's a little bit longer than most typical airport transfers. If you have any issues finding your driver, please feel free to WhatsApp Scott. He will be getting there, I believe, the 26th, so he'll be there about a day early. John, I believe you're getting there earlier than everyone. So, but if you
Exactly.
still
Right.
have troubles, You can WhatsApp Scott, you can WhatsApp Cheesemans. I can contact the hotel and make sure that they have your transfer there for you. So if you
Oh,
have any issues, please contact us.
thank you.
Mhm. And Scott's WhatsApp number was in your final letter if you guys need to find that.
I was
Got
just
it.
going to add, it's a very small airport, as you might imagine, on a tiny little tropical island. So it's pretty easy to step outside, and there's not a lot of space where a taxi can hide from you or your driver can hide from you. So uh, just be aware that they're out there. They will be waiting for you. Or if they're on island time a little bit, don't worry, we will have some.
Elizabeth, can I ask a question about logistics?
Yeah.
And is it the Champs Hotel
Mhm.
has arranged the vehicle?
Yes.
So, I'm arriving, I think, as they know, on the 23rd. And I'm just going to assume that somebody will be there with a sign
Yes.
with my name when I get in.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've sent her all the flight details, so she has that to arrange the transfers.
Okay.
Um,
I don't want to bother you. I don't want to bother Scott. If it's the hotel, that's the
yeah, and I know you had booked your extra night with her, so
yeah.
if you have her contact too, you're more than welcome to contact her right away and straight away too,
Thank
if that's just easiest for you.
Got
Um,
it.
because if there's anything issues wrong, I probably also would just contact her too. She's
Hey, that's
coordinating
why
well.
I'm going to
Yeah.
leave the middle people out. And
Yeah. And if you guys want to, I'd be happy to include her. I'm not sure how to say her name. I think it might be Lee. Um, I can always include her WhatsApp or I don't know if the hotel has a separate WhatsApp, but I can include her
would you do
WhatsApp
that?
contact.
I do not have a WhatsApp, so that'd be
Yeah.
useful. Thank you.
Yeah, I can do that. I'll send you guys an email with that just so that that you guys have it in case. It is the fastest way, so that's
Yeah,
totally okay if you guys would like to contact her for transfer information or issues.
But if you can't get a hold of them, by all means, grab Elizabeth or myself, and we'll come down hard and make sure you guys get what
perfect.
you
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay, now my thing's not working. Come on. Okay, there we go. So this is where you're gonna be staying, the Champs Hotel. It's a cute small boutique hotel. I believe we've booked almost majority of the rooms or half the rooms. So we
Mm.
love that. We love a small little boutique hotel that's nice quality and it will be comfortable for you guys in your stay there. This is also a view from the hotel, which I think is just gorgeous. So I think you guys are gonna just it's gonna be so amazing to come back from the whales, a day with the whales, and then get to sit and see that view. So I'm really excited for you guys. Um, this QR code, if you guys want to scan it with your phones, you're more than welcome to. I will also include the link to that it takes you to in the email I'm going to send you guys with her WhatsApp if that's easiest too. But just in case you want to take a look at it now, this QR code will take you to a website that has a guidebook that the Champs Hotel has put together for you. It's really awesome. It's got information about check-in and actually a little bit of information about transfers, um, information about their restaurant, things to do on the island there, uh, general information about the island, information about checkout. So it's really handy. They also said they have an app, but I'm having a hard time getting to it. So if I can get that information for you guys and put it in the email I'm sending, with her WhatsApp and stuff, I will do that. Because that will allow you to be able to use that guidebook if you're offline as well. Did everyone get the QR code that wanted to scan it? Cool.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought that was awesome. Not all hotels do that, but that guidebook's I wish they did because that was really handy. So a welcome dinner. Although some of you guys are arriving early, we will have an official like welcome dinner on the 27th, which is Friday at 6 p.m. So you guys will just meet Scott and your fellow travelers at the hotel restaurant. You guys can chat, get to know each other better, and then Scott will also kind of probably just give you a little bit of a briefing before you guys have your first experience with the whales the next morning. And then that's a little view from their restaurant at the hotel, which I just can't get over this view. I'm just so envious. So excited for you guys. Cool. So the whale encounters, you guys will have 4 days of whale encounters. And I'm gonna give the, microphone a little bit over to Scott now to kind of give you guys some more information about what those days will look like, what that experience will be like, since he has actually been there and done that.
Yeah, this is I have to say one of my favorite experiences that Cheesemans does. To be in water in close proximity to these amazing whale species. It's definitely I know it gets used a lot, but it is kind of a life-changing moment when you're up close and personal. It's not uncommon in some cases to be, 15, 20 feet away from, a 45-foot whale that's right there and he's checking you out and you're checking them out. So yeah, having said that, I can easily say this is one of my favorite animal experiences. So I'm crossing fingers that the whales will be receptive. As you can imagine, it's a big ocean out there, so we do spend some time searching for them. We've had success every single time. I don't want to jinx us by saying that, but this is one of the best times to go. The whales are around the island, and we just have to put in a little bit of time every day to seek them out. And that's why we leave early in the morning. We typically will have breakfast at the hotel, and then we'll go down to our boat. That's very comfortable for the three of us, plus, well, three plus me. And that's where we head out offshore. The whales tend to be offshore, about anywhere from 2 to 5 miles offshore. They don't hang out on the coast. These guys are deep divers, so they're out there on the trench and they're deep diving for their food. But when they come up to the surface, that's the time that we take advantage of those moments. We do have acoustic listening devices, so we're listening for those clicks, those sounds. And our hydrophone can kind of pick up these sounds from up to 5 miles away. So especially if it's a nice, calm, easy, no wind day. So that's how we kind of hone in on these guys. But yeah, after breakfast, we leave around 8 o'clock in the morning. That's when the winds are also at their minimal, and we head out to shore. And that's for the next few hours. We're kind of listening, trying to find them. Sometimes we find them very quickly, like within an hour. Other times it takes, a couple of hours. So we just have to practice patience and with all the luck on our side, we come across them. And then what we do when we do find them, we position ourselves, since the sperm whales, when they're coming up from their deep dive, they typically go down for about 45 minutes or so, give or take. And when they come up to the surface, they're on the surface for about 15, 20 minutes before they go on their next dive. And it's those moments that we try to capitalize on. We position the boat usually in front of them, depending on the direction they're going, and then we kind of like a Navy SEAL Special Elite Forces team. We'll tell you when to go in the water, and I'll be there with you. We'll be jumping into the water together, and then we're going to just kind of position ourselves so we intersect with them. Now, what we really want, and the best case scenario, is when they finally do take a rest on the surface. Sometimes they're up on the surface resting for an hour or even two, and they tend not to move. They just kind of go into like a sleep phase. And if we're really, really lucky, they go into that kind of vertical phase where they're just below the surface. And they look like Stonehenge monoliths just floating in the surface. And we're able to kind of swim around them. And that's the mind-blowing portion of their behavior. I'm really crossing fingers that they give us some of that, because when that's taking place, we don't have to swim much. We're just floating along with them. Their eyes are open. Even though they're kind of in this semi-sleep mode, you can see their eyes and they're kind of following you, and we can kind of slowly and quietly approach. So it will be, a good solid 6 hours every day on the water. And hopefully part of that day we're in water with the whales. So just be prepared for, from 8 until about 2 o'clock. we'll be out on the water. And then in the afternoon, the winds tend to pick up a bit more and it gets a bit choppier. And so from a snorkeling perspective, it becomes a bit more challenging. And at that point, we kind of head back into land. And usually it takes us, depending on where the whales have taken us during the day, it might take us about an hour to get back to shore. And then we have the afternoons to ourselves. Hopefully we have images or video or just our minds full of exciting images from our day with the whales. And we can go back to the hotel and kind of take a little afternoon break. Chances are with all the swimming and such, we might need a little siesta. If not, the island itself has wonderful hiking, wonderful like just walkabouts, so we can certainly kind of organize ourselves and get together for those that might want to go for a little bit of a walkabout around the island or on some of the trails that do that. Then, of course, we'll have our meals there at the hotel and kind of prepare it for the next day. Each day will be kind of that similar profile for the next 4 days that we go out on the water. So if you're nervous about swimming or anything like that, not to worry. I'm there with you the whole time. Chances are you'll probably have a wetsuit on of some sort, and that gives you even more buoyancy. And if you're even more like nervous about your swimming, we certainly have life vests and stuff like that. We are in the open ocean, but thankfully the waters around Dominica tend to be nice and calm, especially in those hours that we're on the water. Knock on wood, no storms or anything like that. That's out of our control. But everything else, typically that time of year, we have some really nice weather, and we'll take full advantage of that. And Mother Nature, hopefully she blesses us with some fantastic whale encounters. That stuff's out of our control, but we are there at a fantastic time of the year for them. And like I said, never have we not seen the whales. Not about to let that happen on this trip either.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, Scott. Yeah, I will say I have been on the snorkel with humpback whales trip, and I think something about this particular trip that I think is so special is that you guys are such a small group. You may be the most, like the smallest Cheesemans, like generally run trip we've organized, versus, like privates can always be like 1 to 2 people, but the public run trips, this is I think this is the smallest we've ever run. And I think just the fact that there's only gonna be 3 of you and Scott and probably the local guide. So no more than what, 3 to 4,
Four of
no,
us in the
4 to
water.
5 more. Yeah,
He,
that's
even Purnell, our local guide, he typically stays on the boat. And so it'll just be us in the water, which is
yeah.
even better from a whale's perspective because we're not this intimidating wall of people. They tend to be very relaxed and calm, and as long as we're relaxed and calm, and that's kind of the key too. And yeah, we'll be just this really small kind of elite group of whale swimmers on this. So
Yeah. And
I'm
it really
excited
has
for
been, it's beneficial for you guys as well because it's just being so small, your view is less likely to be, blocked by another like another swimmer or another. So it's with having so many less people, it's just a lot less flapping around and like, okay, you move over here, I gotta go over there. So I think it's gonna be just so spectacular. I'm really just stoked for your guys' experiences. And as Scott said, I really hope you guys get to have some of those like really cool vertical experiences. That would be really, really neat too. So
Well, the
cool.
nice thing too, being a small group, is we don't have to go in rotations.
Yep.
I know that, some operators that they'll bring 8 people out, but what that happens, you're only allowed 4 people in the water plus your guide at any one time. So nothing would be more frustrating than group one gets in, has a great whale encounter. Group two has to stay on the boat and wait. Then when their turn comes, maybe the whales go away or something like that. And that would just frustrate me. It would certainly frustrate people that had traveled all that way to go see them. So we kind of do it this way to avoid any of that. So I'm super thrilled for you guys.
Yeah.
Elizabeth, is there time for a very quick question of Scott?
Sure.
Sure.
Does this species tend to travel in pods, or are they more solitary?
The females and the young ones tend to travel in pods. It's a matriarch society. The large males, they tend to go offshore and travel far distances, although they do come into Dominica to mate and breed. And when that happens, it's kind of like going to a rock concert show where all the females get all super excited, and you got Robert Plant up there as the lead singer, and they're all just become the groupies and running around them. But the females and the young, the subadults and the calves, they all do travel in pods. So when we do find, a group, there's a good chance there'll be anywhere from 4 to 5, 6 individuals at any one time. Sometimes you get pods that they kind of temporarily break up and then they come together again, and you might get a megapod that's going. But yeah, they're most likely we're going to see them in their pod groups.
Mhm. Scott, I'm probably going to spend more time on the boat than I will in the water, just by choice. And I'm thinking of what camera I ought to bring, a wide angle, a zoom. You got any very quick ideas as to photographic equipment?
You know, if you let's see, I would say probably if you want to shoot from the boat, somewhere like in a 1 to 400 range is going to come in very handy, because when we do drop you off, when we do plop in the water, typically the boat veers off a little bit so as not to disrupt the path of the whales. And so you might be a little bit further than, say, what you would use a wide angle for.
Okay.
Now, having said that, you might sit there and go, I want to be in the water too. If you do bring something in the water, wide angle certainly is going to be, if you have a GoPro or if you have an underwater housing, wide angle is going to be the way that you want to go. But there are times where we've seen, believe it or not, sperm whales breaching. And that's where, that 1 to 400 can come in handy as well.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah, Scott, I just bought a GoPro. I've never used it. I'm watching YouTube videos.
Okay.
They sell a wide angle lens for the GoPro. Is that worth investing in that as
Well,
well?
the GoPro has a built-in kind of wide angle lens. I mean, you can get the super wide, but that's more for like people on mountain bikes and they want to get themselves in like a selfie type scenario. I don't
So,
think you need to invest in an additional accessory for the wide angle, because GoPros typically they have two built-in lenses, one that's kind of semi-wide, and then there's one that's wider one. And I mean, unless you're 2 feet away from a sperm whale, you're not going to need that super wide. And if you're 2 feet away from the sperm whale, we're maybe a little too close at that point.
yeah, the same.
We'll be pulling you back a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, GoPros are great. I have one that I take on my trips. It is, I want to say it feels almost ancient now because they're like bringing out new ones all the time. And I definitely want to upgrade mine. I think it works pretty well, and I think mine's like a 2 series.
Oh, that's really old.
Yeah, like I got it in 2015, so it's pretty old, but it still does pretty well. And I even saw some people in the Galapagos that had, I think that's series 10, and it's just so great for underwater trips. So I think you'll be really happy with that.
Yeah, you just bought a new series
Yeah,
one?
the 13, the
Yeah,
13.
see, they're on 13.
You're
Oh my
gonna
gosh.
love that.
Yeah.
Especially since yeah, that's a little bit newer. That's
Yeah.
just like having a computer with 2015 compared to today's Zoom computer. But you won't have to use flash or anything because we're tons of natural light there on
Oh,
the
good. Yeah.
Now, what I would recommend is having a spare battery.
Yeah, I have 2 batteries.
Okay,
Yeah.
great,
Yeah.
because those GoPros do go through the batteries.
Mhm.
And so if we're going to be out on the water for 6 hours that day, and
Yeah, good.
know,
Yeah.
you might want to take selfies or even just scenery around while we're on the boat. You
Mhm.
don't want that moment to come when the whales do show up and now you're like,
Right.
oh, my battery's only 10%. Boo.
Well, when I went with the humpback whales, my camera, I bought an underwater camera and it broke the first day. So, um, I'm not, yeah, I don't have a lot of good luck with cameras. So,
Well,
Well,
this
sounds like,
trip
Catherine, you
is
need
gonna
to
be
be
different.
on another humpback whale trip in the future.
okay. Yeah, well, I'd love to. Yeah, yeah.
Also, sorry if you guys hear rumbling. That is a garage. Just
Okay.
I
Yeah,
know
I'm
it's
sorry.
Not
My
your
wrong.
cat,
stomach.
I can't lock my cat out of the room or he'll make such a fuss. So I just ignore.
Yeah. Um, yeah, okay. Well, and the only other thing I'll say about the GoPros is if you don't already have it, is I found mine. It's actually four, but mine has to have an underwater proof case, and I don't have it now. But if you get kind of like in this picture, she has one like the floating handles. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
that's really neat.
It came with a, well,
Perfect.
yeah, I
Great. I
think,
can't tell
yeah,
what they come with
you can
anymore.
put the thing on your hand
Yeah,
and
you want
Okay,
that.
that's
You don't
keeping the
want it to
water.
float away from you
yeah,
Yeah.
in
yeah,
all the excitement.
Yeah.
yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, speaking of all this gear and camera stuff, the next slide I was gonna say is just kind of a reminder of snorkeling gear. So
Mhm.
please make sure you're bringing your own wetsuit, mask, snorkel, fins, and then other items that I kind of just wanted to point out in particular that could be helpful for you on the trip is obviously, well, reef safe sunscreen, please, because there are some beautiful reefs in Dominica that we would like to keep preserved and things. So please bring reef safe sunscreen. Something I like to recommend is a neck buff. The Buff Company has a bunch. You can get them on Amazon, REI. They're very handy for keeping your neck from getting sunburnt and without having to use a ton of sunscreen. So and also for I was like, Catherine, your hair's a little shorter than mine, but hair wise too, you can kind of
Mhm.
pull it over. And sometimes, as long as it's not disrupting your mask, it really can help keep your hair from getting tangled. It's just a great thing to have. It's also great if you guys go on hikes and you want your neck again to be covered, things like that. So that's something I generally like to recommend. Dive skin, I don't know that it's not really necessary for temperature wise, but a lot of people like a little thin layer that helps them get their wetsuit on easily and take it off easily. So that's just something I also like to recommend to people. I've heard someone also suggested, which is a handy, much cheaper way of going about it, but nylons, a pair of nylons can help you get your wetsuit on your legs
Oh,
a lot faster. So that's something someone recommended as well. And then also just water. Just make sure you guys pack a lot of water. It's really, we suggest bringing a reusable water bottle that can hold quite a bit of water because when you're out there with the salt, getting out, you're really gonna want to keep hydrated. So that's something else to bring. Another thing I didn't list here, but I also like to recommend when you're using fins is either a fin sock or like a sock line or something like that to help if you get blisters from your fins. Um, so that's just a few things I like to remind people of. I think some of those are listed on the packing list in your trip planning materials, but I just wanted to point them out here as well. And then just please make sure you guys try on all your gear, make sure it works properly, make sure it fits properly, just so that you guys don't have any surprise oh no's while on the trip. Um,
Yeah,
so yeah.
sometimes an extra a mask strap in case your
Mm,
mask strap breaks is a
yes.
good thing to have. There's not, believe it or not, not a lot of stores there in Dominica to go get backup gear or anything like that. Mask straps might be able to find that somewhere, but it would take a little bit of effort to do it. So, those things are like $5. It's just buy a cheap one, a little extra strap, but at least it's a nice little insurance policy. Another thing when we're out on the water, and you're wet, and then we get out, and sometimes if the wind's blowing, it's good to have a fleece jacket or something that will help insulate you from the cold. You don't think of the cold being in the tropics, but if you've been in the water and now you're out there and the wind is blowing, you can get a little bit chilled. So I always bring some sort of warm fleece that I can put back on
Yeah.
after I've dunked. And it is, as we kind of point out, you'll want some sort of suit, not only to protect you from the sun, but in the water there can be these tiny little jellies.
Oh.
And it's not life threatening or anything, but it's uncomfortable if they're kind of zinging you. So typically I'll wear a full wetsuit. Now it's a
Yeah.
thin one. Like Elizabeth said, temperature wise, it's a pretty comfortable temperature, especially if you're swimming. But it gives you that little extra bit of protection against those little zingers out there that tend to float around.
Yeah. Yeah, that's those are really great things too. And mask fitting too for me with regard to like making sure it works and fits and having a good strap. I got a mask and I took it on a trip once, and I was so thankful for that trip at least that they had a spare mask because mine was bruising my nose. It was so uncomfortable. So that to me, and because you guys are going underwater and needing to see the whales, is such an important key thing. I think too, is your mask fit. So make sure that's comfortable besides also having a good seal. And yeah, just bring all this and you can just put it in like a day pack that you bring on board on the ship. You could just bring your water, your jacket, kind of all those things to have with you. So, great. So your guys' final day with the whales will be New Year's Eve, December 31st. So you guys will come back, and depending on how everyone feels, and maybe it was a really exciting day with the whales and everyone's like jazzed and wants to do something, or maybe it was just also a really exciting day, but everyone's like wiped and super tired. You guys can choose as a group to, if you guys want to do something for New Year's. I've checked with the hotel, and because they're so small, they're not really doing a New Year's party. But she has said that if you guys want food and drinks by the pool, they are happy to accommodate that. There is also a New Year's Eve thing I have found at another hotel. It would be an additional cost, but it's something you guys could do. They have music and dinner and stuff like that. You guys do not have to stay out late. You don't even need to stay up till 12 if you don't want to. But that is for you guys. Just want to let you know it's whatever you guys want to make of it. So
John,
yeah.
you want to dance the night away, I know.
Yeah, come on. I struggle to stay awake till 9 p.m. So don't count on me to be life of the party.
I might be there right with you, John, so don't worry.
Yeah, I think it's so cool. I really love offering when we get the chance to offer a trip over New Year's or some kind of fun holiday. It just is really special and exciting. So yeah. And then your final day of the trip is New Year's Day. Woo! So you guys can start the new year off 2025 with a group activity of your choice. So there's lots of things to do in that area. And as Scott mentioned, there's lots of good hikes and walks. So these are some things that I actually kind of pulled from that guidebook that the QR code linked to, in case those are some options you guys want to talk about and think of doing. So some of them is like the Indian River is right down just I think maybe 5 minutes from your hotel or so, and they do some boat tours where you can go on the river or look for wildlife, things like that. It's not a super long event, so you guys may be able to do one or two things depending on how long activities take. There's also the Cabritz, I don't know how they say that, or Cabri National Park, which is a little bit farther down on this little peninsula there that in the very beginning of the map, you're kind of in that little bay. So right at the top of that bay, there's a little like kind of peninsula-y, part that the national park is on. And that's that picture down here with the cool buildings. Um, and there's also lots of nature walks to waterfalls. There's some that you could drive to, then do a little bit of a nature walk. So there's lots to do. Birding wise, I'm not sure if any of you guys are birders or like to bird. Um, the typical good season for that is March to August, I believe. But if you guys want, and I don't know if the hotel may know where to look for these in particular, there are two parrots that are only found in Dominica, and that's the Cicero and the Jacko parrots, and they're only found
Oh,
in Dominica. So if you guys had the chance to see one of or both of those, that would be pretty cool too. So those are just, again, you guys will get together, talk about what you guys feel like doing, and then you guys can either choose one activity, two activities, just kind of make it your own cool, awesome final day of the trip and first day of the year. It's kind of a weird juxtaposition.
Yeah, it'd be kind of a cool way to bring in the new year. We're on this
Yeah.
unique island, looking at unique animals, and with nice people. I can't think of a better way to bring in the new year.
Yeah. And since you guys will have such early mornings throughout the trip, if you wanted to too, one of the things you could do is just sleep in a little bit and get some breakfast or whatever you wanted. It really is kind of whatever you guys want to make of it. So, and I think there's flexibility in it too. So if any of you guys are like, I just really want to chill at the hotel today, read some books.
Oh, I'm not allowing that. The 22
Or
mile
not.
hike, going to the
Well,
top.
I don't make the rules. Just kidding. But yeah, so there's a lot of flexibility and that last day there. So let's see. So yeah, after that, you guys will make your way home the day after on January 2nd. And again, we'll coordinate those transfers for you guys. And then this is something I like to put in my whale trips. Happywhale, I don't know if both of you guys have heard of it before or not. But Happywhale is a global citizen science project that was established in 2015 by Ted Cheeseman, the past owner of CheesemansEcologySafaris. So it's really cool. I believe to make an account, it's free.
Yeah.
But basically how it works is you submit photos of your marine mammal encounters. Generally, what you're going to try to do is get a fluke picture. I know it may be a little less common. Is it a little less common with sperm whales, Scott, or is it fairly frequent you can get a fluke?
I wouldn't say it's not as common as humpback whales,
Right, that's what I
but they do occasionally give you a fluke,
Okay.
and even if we're in the water, we can get fluke shots from in
Oh,
the water, and we
yes,
can
that's a good
submit
point.
those as well.
Cool. Yeah, I was like, I didn't think they did it as much as and humpback whales. But yeah, good point. So you could get it in the water as well, because you want to get a picture of the fluke and specifically kind of that like under fluke area. Because they can then identify the whale using the fluke marks, things like that. And then they track the whales around the world. So wherever someone is like, oh, I saw this whale up here in Monterey Bay, and now it's down here in Mexico, they can kind of track that, and it helps them really predict the whale movements. They also helps them keep track of whales, and it helps them with ship strike data too, and stuff like that. So he's really been doing a lot of cool, awesome research with that and advocating for whales. So this is something I really like to let you guys know about. They do it for, I think right now it's just humpback whales and sperm whales. But it's happywhale.com. It's free. If you submit photos of whales you see, they'll also send you, if you would like to, they'll send you updates of when your whale is seen and where they were seen. So it's really cool.
Yeah,
Um,
it's cutting edge technology now.
yeah.
It's one of the most comprehensive humpback whale catalogs in the world. Uh, Scientists have kind of, for once, joined teams, and it's a very collaborative effort. So if we get some great ID shots, Ted and company are extremely excited about that. And personally, I love when I get a little email that says, "Oh, your whale popped up off the coast of Hawaii."
Yeah.
Today, and it was maybe a whale that you saw 3 years ago. So it's fun to be kind of intermixed with the science that's taking place.
Cool.
Yeah. And then on the topic of post-trip stuff as well, I didn't actually have a slide for this. It's kind of something we've started newly introducing into the final letters and our Zooms, is I just want to give you guys a little bit of information about what you'll be receiving after the trip. So again, Happywhale is something you could actually, Happywhale is something you can do during the trip as well. If you have your internet at the hotel, you could upload a photo like that day. But when you guys get back from your trip, I'm trying to think what day that is. So that following Wednesday, I believe it is, you guys will get a email from Cheesemans, sending you guys a trip evaluation for you guys to fill out about the trip. Let us know how it was, the accommodations, things like that. We really appreciate your feedback, so that, you know, in the future, if we run this trip again, we can make it even better, you know, and improve upon things that you think might need to be improved or whatever, you guys feel about it. So we love to get your feedback, good, bad, whatever. We love to hear it. So, please make sure you guys fill that out. There will also be a reminder email sent a week after that. And then you'll also get, basically you have 4 emails that will come to you once a week. After that, you guys will also get an email regarding a group Google photo sharing folder. That is actually, it should be posted on your trip portal page now. So you should have access to that during your trip and after your trip. And that is an area where you guys can go and share photos. So you can upload photos you want to share with the group. And then everyone can see kind of all the photos you guys took. So that's a really awesome thing that we love to do for you guys. And then just a note about all of that, though, is it doesn't stay on there permanently. I think it's about 6 months after your trip. A lot of that stuff gets kind of taken down and archived on our back end. So please do make sure that if there's photos you want to save that from that Google photo sharing folder of someone else's that you would just like to save and have in your records, to show friends and family or whatever you do. And a note for Google Photo Shares, it does give you credit and put your name on it when you upload it. So I just like to mention that in case people are weary about posting their photos. And we just ask that if you do download photos of your travelers, photos to keep, just be respectful of obviously their content and their stuff.
In case you guys decide to go skinny dipping or something.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, I was like, you know, people, I know some of our travelers who are really big in photography, they get weary about sharing photos and then having people share them and put their names on them. I don't think our Cheesemans travelers would do that, but I just like to just always remind people to just be courteous of that. You know, don't go posting it being like, put it in an art show as yours, you know, whatever.
Catherine, I'm stealing all your photos. So.
Okay, you're welcome to them. Yeah.
Well, and having said that, I'm happy to share any photos that I get with you guys too. If I get some good ones, which hopefully cross fingers. Yes, John, Catherine, you guys are welcome to share them with your friends and family.
Yeah.
I think you should be
I'll do
on
my
that
best.
Google photo thing too, Scott, if that's easiest for you.
Yep.
Cool. So yeah, before you guys go, just a little pre-travel checklist, just reminders again. Please make sure you've reviewed the final updates and reminders email I sent you. That is also linked on your trip portal page if you ever want to reference it and you can't find the email I sent. It is on there. Continue to check for updates on entry requirements for Dominica. I don't think anything should change. If there is anything that changes in the next, gosh, 2-3 weeks here, 3 weeks, we will
15
also
days, 15
yeah,
days.
I was like, it's
I have a little clock here.
oh, that's awesome. Yeah, we will let you know if anything changes that's like, oh my goodness, we need to let you guys know, obviously, but we don't really expect that will happen. I just like to put this in here. Make sure to bring a few COVID tests and plenty of masks, just in case anybody gets sick. It's always kind of nice just to know and be courteous of your travelers. And then again, in that regard, please protect yourself as much as possible from getting sick before and during travel. It is a small group, so that's kind of also nice in this regard because there's less likelihood of more bodies, more germs, more everything. So, but still, please do try your best. I know it's going to be right after the holiday season, and we just want to make sure that all of you are able to thoroughly enjoy your experience on this trip. So that's a big important key. Cool. And I believe that is all I have for you guys. So do you guys have any
I
questions?
do, Elizabeth. Since
Yes, of
I'm
course.
going to be hanging out with these people for part of my life, I already know Scott's background, but I know nothing about Catherine, where she lives, who the other person is. And I'll start off by saying, Catherine, my accent comes from South Africa 80
Oh,
years ago. I immigrated to Atlanta in my early 20s, which is 60 years ago. I
mhm.
live in Charlotte, North Carolina, have for
Oh,
nearly 50 years now.
mhm.
I travel a lot. I'm a bachelor these days. I've got an ex-wife, but we don't communicate much. I go all over the planet. Just been to Vietnam and Cambodia. Went up to see the polar bears in
Oh,
Hudson Bay
wow.
recently. Heading off to see the zebra migration in
Wow.
Botswana with the grandson next April. So that's what I do for a living. And so I had a gap in my holidays. So I signed up to be with Scott and Cheeseman and Catherine.
Wow.
But
And me.
who is Catherine and who's the missing soul?
Well,
Yeah, yeah, I they didn't have to share, like they didn't check it off to opt in to share, so I don't know if I can share their name. Do you think, Scott? I don't
yeah,
know.
Oh, don't be.
I didn't get
There's only
anybody's
four of
name.
us.
Okay, I was like, I don't know. I don't want to
Oh, come
upset
on. There's
anyone.
no lawyers. There's
Well,
no
we can
lawyers
share the
around.
name,
Yeah.
but yeah, we'll let them share their personals on the trip. But yeah, we
Yeah.
can share.
Okay. Well, Mark is the other person that will be on this trip. So, that's all I'll share about that. I'll let him kind of introduce himself when he sees you guys. But yeah, Catherine, do you want to say anything to
Oh,
introduce?
well, I'm just the opposite. I am a very reluctant traveler. Every time I go, I love it, but it's like pulling teeth to get me out of my house. And I live in Phoenix. I've lived here for 40 something years. And this year I've been traveling more. I got to see the solar eclipse, the total solar eclipse, and I went to Alaska and to visit a friend. And I think I'm the only person in the world who's ever gone to Alaska and has not seen a moose. And that's why I told my
Yeah.
friend I'm going to see a moose, and that was the only thing I didn't see on the trip.
Oh,
I did see oh, what's his name? He's a Roger Federer. I did see Roger Federer, but I did not. He was on a trip that a cruise that I took. But anyway, I do love whales. I went on the humpback trip with Ted in 2011,
Mhm.
and I also went to the Galapagos. But those that's very unusual for me to get me out of my house. But I love water. I swim once a week, and but it's in a pool, so I'm not used to the wave stuff. But I'm a pretty strong swimmer, so
Okay.
I'm really excited about this trip. I saw you sent me the email, and I saw this because I love sperm whales, especially because of their communication thing. And when I saw the email, I said, "Oh, I'd love to do that." And I thought, "Well, why the hell can't you do that?" It's
I
just
know.
I
Go
can't.
for it, right?
Yeah, I know. So anyway,
Well, thank you, Catherine. Look forward to getting to know you
yeah,
better.
yeah.
And Mystery Mark, too, who I'm confident
Yeah, Mystery Mark.
very
Yeah,
happy to tell us
Buffy.
who he is.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm so excited for you guys. I just want to say thank you because this trip was very quick to be put
Yeah,
together and with not as much time as normal.
yeah.
So getting trip materials out and things like that. I appreciate your guys' cooperation and patience with me as I got it all together and for just jumping on board and making this trip a possibility because without you, there is no trip. And so, we really appreciate you taking the time over your holidays to travel with us. And it means a lot to us. And we're just so excited for you. I think this is a great way to start your new year. I don't think there's really much of a better way than traveling, getting out, and being with like-minded people and seeing these incredible whales. So thank you from me and from Cheesemans. Thank you guys for being great travelers and being, responsive and just like patient with me. And yeah, I really appreciate it. And it's been lovely to work with you guys to get this trip together. So
Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, Scott.
My
Thank you,
pleasure.
Catherine, and we'll see you in Dominica.
yeah,
And
did anybody
if
have
you have any questions in the meantime, don't hesitate to contact Elizabeth or myself if you have camera questions or anything like that.
Elizabeth, is it true that you're arranging a day trip to Port-au-Prince and the Haiti side of the island?
for this trip? I was like,
We'll do that on New Year's night, John.
Okay,
what?
that's a
Everyone gets
basket
their own
case.
machine gun.
It's just
Oh,
amazing
yeah,
how
no.
that half
No,
of the
no,
island is
no.
chaos.
Luckily, you'll be a
Yeah.
completely separate island.
Yeah, it's the same island, but that half is crazy. And
No, it's not.
No,
It's
that's Dominican Republic.
yeah, that's a Dominican Republic. Yeah, not the
We're
yeah,
going
not
to
Dominica.
Dominica.
I hope you're going to
well,
the
I'm
right
not sure I've
place.
got the right air ticket.
I
I
think
Uh-oh.
you
the
do.
difference. I do. Will you double check that?
Yeah,
Yes,
let's
I will double
confirm.
check that, but I was looking
Okay.
and I believe you had the correct airline.
Well, thank you so much. I want to go to the
Yeah.
correct Dominica.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I know.
At
It
first
is.
I thought it was the Dominican Republic too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been
and
telling
you guys
people
wouldn't
I'm going
believe.
to the Dominican Republic, and I'm
Well, and you wouldn't believe how many times I go to type Dominica and it literally just wants to fill in Dominican Republic
I
for
know.
me.
That's
Like,
why I'm a little
no.
leery about my airline. So anyhow,
We'll get back
I
with
will-
you as soon as possible on that to confirm.
I'll check that tomorrow again.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good
Yeah,
night,
I was
everybody.
just gonna, I'll double check. I
Bye.
just pulled them because I just sent more details over to the hotel for the transfers and stuff, but I will double check that. But as far as I can remember, I was looking and you guys had all the same airport code. So I think you're good.
Thank you. Cross fingers.
Yeah.
Okay. Good
That's
night.
something that I
Yeah.
would
Well, thank
do.
you guys so much again. And like Scott
Bye.
said, if you have any other questions, please let me know. I can always ask Scott too. Scott's email is also available at scott@cheesemans.com if you guys have any questions for either of us. But we look forward to having you guys travel with us. And thank you again for taking the time out of your evening to join us on this. And I hope it was helpful.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Good night.
All right. Good night, everyone.
See you.
Bye.